dry on the field. I know the Cubs relievers just now heading out to the bullpen. We are going to get baseball in, and that is a good thing, especially for Anthony Rizzo, who has some big plans tonight for his mother. He is taking her to a Broadway show this evening, and he came out during the rain delay, looked around and said, "This is not helping my cause. I have big plans with my mom tonight." So I don't know if we'll see first pitch swinging, maybe, who knows, but certainly he wants to get out of here and, of course, celebrate Mother's Day with his mom before tomorrow. And Chuck, I know you have more on the White Sox as we finally get out of this rain delay and get some action on the field.
That's right, Kelly. The White Sox are in the visiting clubhouse, or they were in there. That visiting clubhouse is probably the smallest in all of baseball, so a rain delay, not exactly a spacious situation, but what did they do to pass the time? Hector Santiago said they played cards. Yolmer Sanchez played basketball. How did he play basketball in that clubhouse? I asked him, how did he do it? He said, as the basket, he used the dirty clothes hamper. That's what Yolmer Sanchez did during the rain delay. Playing basketball in the hoop was the dirty clothes hamper. Do what you can. All right, Cubs and Sox coming up. First pitch from Wrigley Field on the way.
Was brought to you in part by Toyota. Tested, trusted, Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. By Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite, hold true.
Wrigley Field, the site, post-rain. Game 2 of 3, Sox and Cubs coming your way. And here is the White Sox starting lineup, brought to you by the Webb Auto Group. For the best lineup of Chevys, Fords, Mitsubishis, Genesis, and Hyundais, the best price, go to webcars.com. The speed of Adam Engel at the top of the card today. Then Anderson and Abreu. Davidson at third, up a couple spots. Castillo, Rondon gets a start. Garcia, Trace Thompson in the lineup. And James Shields, who can swing it a little bit.
Defensive setup for the Cubs presented by UI Health. This is how Joe Maddon's going to send them out there today. It's Schwarber, Elmora, and Bryant in the outfield with Baez, Russell, Bote, and Rizzo in the infield. Wilson Contreras behind the plate, and our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is John Lester. Lester throwing it pretty well these days. He's 2-1, his ERA a fine 2.82. You see the 31 strikeouts and 38 in the third innings. Left-handers have done nothing with him. Mostly a right-handed lineup for our Sox. The Cubs have done a nice job in Wrigley Field. A lot of Sox fans have made the trip. It's not that far of a trip. And fortunately, there will be baseball, because the last thing you want is a postponement and have to make it up on an off day, and that's not going to happen. So we'll take a look at the umpires for the game today. Adrian Johnson has the plate, Trip Gibson at first, Mike DeMuro at second, and Brian Gorman, the crew chief, is at third. So finally, 2-hour and 15-minute rain delay, but baseball nonetheless. Time to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Jason Benetti.
Steve, thank you so much. Baseball after 2 hours is still baseball, and we're glad to get it in. Game 2, Engel takes ball number 1 from John Lester, and we are underway. 2 hours and 15 minutes delayed. First pitch time this lovely afternoon, 3:35. Now, the idea was to not burn the starting pitchers. That's why the delay, even while it wasn't raining. And John Lester, who in his prior start had a couple of rain delays, certainly didn't want another situation like that. Engel rips it foul, a ball and 2 strikes on Adam, who through his college career at Louisville was a leadoff hitter. This is the first time he's done it with the Sox.
John Lester is going to cut that ball into the right-handers, and he's got it at a few different speeds. So sometimes it breaks a little bigger. That really looks like a slider. The other time he throws it harder, looks like a cutter. And he also uses it backdoor, trying to nip off the outside corner.
Adam in the air to left field. Schwarber, short of the warning track, makes the catch for out number 1.
It'll be later in the game, probably fourth, maybe fifth inning, when Lester will break out the slow curveball. He usually doesn't do it early. Usually depends on his power game till he gets that feeling on the mound. Then he'll start the slow curveball, especially to the right-handers. He's not going to face too many left-handers because he's had success against them. And this was their first big free agent acquisition, maybe a year ahead of time for Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer, but he's been a mainstay in this rotation.
Drops down there to get strike 1 to Tim Anderson, who's up to the 2 spot today. Here's what Lester will throw. You mentioned he'll cut it. He does that about a quarter of the time.
Big thing with that cutter is he will use the outside corner to the right-handers. They give up on it, and then he gets a strike. Curveball later in the game, the changeup a work in progress, and the sinker not too much.
This is 104th start with the Cubs as Anderson parachutes this ball to center field, and Almora is on the case for the second out.
Almora, a very good center fielder, not necessarily that burner speed that you usually see, but you don't need it here at Wrigley Field. This is not one of the bigger center fields around. And Almora gets a good break on it and ran that one down.
2 out, Jose Abreu, who had a couple of hits yesterday, 2 of the 5 for the Sox in that game in the opener.
Javier Baez close to the line at third base. He's going to have to play close to the line against the right-handers all game long because Lester loves to use that inside part of the plate. His game is down. If he stays down, he's usually in good shape. The only time he gets in trouble is when he elevates that fastball, unless it's higher than high.
Ball's creamed down the left field line by Abreu toward the corner and foul.
That ball hit as hard as you can hit it. Ricocheted off the back screen, and John Lester breathed a sigh of relief. That was pretty close to 1-0.
Here's Joe Madden in season number 4 with the Cubs. You got to watch out for ricochets in that corner.
Especially that one. That one came rocketing off the wall.
Two and one to Jose from the 4-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion John Lester. At least 30 starts each of the last 10 years.
It's pretty amazing how durable he's been. Now, last year he was on the disabled list one time. It was later in the season. It wasn't long. But he manages to pick up right around 32 starts most Ethan every year. And there you look at 161 wins.
Into left center, Almora with a little extra for out number 3. 1-2-3 inning, all in the air for Lester. James Shields comes out after this. Top of the card, then Bryant in right field, Rizzo and Contreras, Schwarber bats 5th, Russell and Almora, David Bodie, the rookie, is 8th, and John Lester batting 9th.
UI defensive setup for our Sox, presented by UI Health. It's Garcia, Engel, and Thompson in the outfield with Matt, Tim, Jose, and Jose in the infield. Wellington Castillo has the plate, and we will tell you about James Shields directly.
First one from him to Javier Baez is ball 1.
Our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is James Shields. Record doesn't look that good. The last couple of times out, he's been very good. Control has been good, and he's going to have it today. This Cub team, very hot in their own ballpark.
To right field and slicing toward the line. This is down to the warning track, and Baez is ticketed for extra bases. He's going for 3. Javier Baez with the throw-off line has a leadoff triple.
Well, Baez made it hold up, but by all rights, he should have been dead to right at third base. Rondon had the ball in time, but the throw was not on the money. Trace Thompson has some problems picking it up, and Baez thinks he can make it, and turns out that he's right. The errant throw, he's in at third base, and an ominous way to start the ball game. Trace has some problems right there. It does hit his foot. He does get it back in.
Cubs led off the game yesterday with a double from Ben Zobrist. Now a triple today from Baez, and Chris Bryant goes after the first one as well.
Ricky Renteria deciding to play the infield back. He's going to concede the run unless, of course, it's hit to Matt Davidson at third base. I thought if they'd be running on contact this early in the inning, especially with Rizzo coming up next, as hot as he's been.
Oh-1 will have to wait. Shields had a chance at Baez.
Well coordinated between James and Matt, but Baez, anticipating, got back. And probably doesn't hurt that he's a middle infielder playing third base today. Probably seen that a time or two. He's probably used it a time or two.
Ball and a strike. Shields to Bryant, who's playing right field for his 34th time in his career. He's done it a little bit this season so far. And there's the defense for the Sox.
those of you who are wondering why they're everyday third baseman, and that's Chris Bryant, why he'd be playing right field today, it's very simple. John Lester loves to cut the ball into the right-handers, meaning the left side of the infield, specifically the third baseman, is probably going to get more action. Probably going to get the ball hit harder, and Baez just as a better third baseman than Bryant. But he's also a very good shortstop and also a very good second baseman. You can only play him in one position, and today it's third base.
And with Jason Hayward on the shelf for the time being, you've got a spot in right field where Bryant can play logically.
And he does have a very good arm, so they certainly don't lose anything when he moves out there. As you look at Anthony Rizzo, the batting average doesn't look like much for him. However, the last 2 weeks he's been scalding hot. And Ricky now is moving in the infield.
They come in on the pitch, and another yank foul by Bryant. Cubs are 9th in Major League Baseball in batting average. That's up to 4th in on-base percentage and 5th in slugging for a team that certainly did not get off to a scalding start offensively.
They have very good hitters on this team, and it just shows you how good they are, getting off to the start they are, and now hitting the ball pretty much up and down this lineup very well. Bryant this year has cut down on the strikeouts. And in fact, with 19 walks and 23 strikeouts, he's very close to a number that most guys only dream about, and that is more walks than strikeouts, especially guys with the power that Chris Bryant has.
Time called as James Shields and John Lester get together again after facing off in the 2014 American League wild card game, and both actually gave up runs in the first inning in that game. Shields was down 2-0. Kansas City then scored a run in the first and 2 in the third to take the lead for him, eventually winning 9-8 in 12. Three and two, Baez at third. And grounded foul. We were talking about that wild card game in the American League, September 30th, 2014. And that's how it all shook out for the starters. Each got a no decision. Royals, of course, on their way to the World Series defeat. Made it all the way to that final series. 3-2. It's inside, ball four. Runners at the corners, nobody out in the Cubs' first inning.
Didn't start exactly like this yesterday, but it started close. There was runners at first and second, nobody out. And Rizzo took one back up the middle for a run driven in. And eventually scored a run.
So here's Rizzo, who you mentioned has been swinging a much better bat. He's 12 for his last 34. That's .353 this month. Rizzo in the air, left center field. That ball is drilled, and it's gone. Three-run home run, Anthony Rizzo, and the Cubs once again have the early lead.
Well, we told you how hot Anthony Rizzo was, and he shows you right there, taking it opposite field. The wind, a non-factor at this point, and line drives always go out in the alleys. So our forward home run replay is a line drive rocket to left center field, and just like that, Sox down 3. Nobody out. It's home run number 6 and RBIs 21, 22, and 23.
He was at home run number 1 when the month started.
He's too good a hitter not to hit, and he's showing why he perennially drives in more than 100 runs, and he's going to get there again this year.
Wilson Contreras, the batter. had his day yesterday. A couple of home runs, 7 knocked in, was the major reason for the Cubs' big victory. Well, James Shields knows part of the reason he's out there every time he's out there is to eat up innings, being the veteran of this staff. So you better believe he's got a lot of pitches left in him this afternoon.
After what happened yesterday, you would hope that James Shields goes deep into the ball game. Fulmer lasted an inning and 2/3. In Santiago, Avilan with Beck, Bummer, and Volstead. So the pen was used liberally, but the day off tomorrow, Penn will have a chance to regroup.
One breaks toward the outside corner, 1-2. Here's what James will throw, and it is a lot of stuff. Those are his top 5 pitches. If you say that they don't add up to 100%, that's because he throws extra stuff.
Also changing speeds on each and every one of those gives him a whole lot of other pitches.
Two to Contreras. He's 7 for his last 10. Last 2 games, all 7 of those hits have been for extra bases. Two to right, and a diving play by Trace Thompson gets the Sox out number 1.
Good effort by Trace, taking it right off the grass, a line drive, but Thompson right there to make the play. Get a good break on this ball. The ball's hit hard, as Contreras has been doing for the better part of the last 3 games, and this is a good effort.
Popped it right into the glove for the first out. Bundle up. It is chilly out there. Here's Schwarber.
Rondon way back on the grass in short right field in the shift. Schwarber, a dead pull hitter, normally had a base hit yesterday just off the end of the bat and got it just inside the bag at third.
It was part of a 15-hit attack for the Cubs in yesterday's game. Three balls and no strikes.
Well, you can bet that Schwarber's got the 3-0 green light, and James undoubtedly knows that.
Nothing good to hit for Schwarber. Second walk of the game for James Shields. We'll tell you what you're going to see coming up in our telecast of the things that we know you'll see. El Caballo and some crosstown heroics. Andrew McCutcheon to much fanfare. Giants uniform goes back to the Steel City, and then we will do some shopping as well. Steve's got his credit card out. Only for show, though. I'll be paying as normal at the swap meets.
Yeah.
1 on, 1 out. Let's see what Kampka's got cooking for us over at the old Swaparama.
Well, that would be good and provable if I didn't take you as a dependent on my last income tax form.
Yes. Here's Addison Russell. I offered to buy you an ice cream sandwich in the
That was really
press
nice.
dining
Being
room.
lactose intolerant, I thank you very much.
Here's strike 1 to Russell, who was the hitless Cub yesterday. He was 0 for 3, did have a couple of walks, 2 strikeouts as well.
Outfield very much straight away for Addison Russell, who hasn't really started to heat it up yet. But he's got pretty good power, although at least to this point he hasn't shown it.
To left field, and that's not caught. Garcia couldn't get there. Schwarber is on the brakes at second. 2 on, 1 out for Almora.
sinking line drive, and Leary, who has played all over the place lately, couldn't get to it. Makes a good effort. Comes in, the ball just lands in front of him. Nice piece of backing up by Adam Engel. And the biggest thing was that Schwarber did not go to third base.
He's kind of in between on whether or not that ball was going to be caught, and rightfully so, as you saw. So Almora, who's up at 289 in the batting average department, takes strike one. .24 pitches for James Shields thus far. Came inside, 0-2.
That's a good pitch when you're ahead 0-1 because you're forcing the hitter to try to protect. He doesn't want to fall down 0-2. He identifies it as a fastball in the inside corner, and then it runs in on his hands. In this case, Almora could do nothing with it.
Just 24 years old. Shields 12 years his elder. And a breaking ball in the dirt, 1-2. Well, Ricky Renteria before the game was talking about the Sox clubhouse and his goal of staying positive at all times, even when it seems like it's very difficult. He knew that this was going to be a tough season at points. And certainly he'd rather come in here and put up the big number in the first inning, but you don't get to pick what your adversity looks like in a rebuild. Schwarber at second, Russell at first. There's a swing and a miss for strike three, and Shields has his first strikeout. 2 down.
Looks like a nice sweeping slider. Had Almora out on the front foot, could not check it up. So 1 out away from getting out of it.
And it's David Bodie, 25-year-old, former 18th round pick of the Cubs in his rookie season in the majors. He turns on this ball and plops it down the left field line. Schwarber's coming home. Russell to third. It's 4-0 Cubs.
First pitch swinging, it's RBI number 5. So yesterday was 5-0. This afternoon it's 4-0. As that looked like a slider, you tried to throw away from Bodie, couldn't get it there. Turns into a base hit. Schwarber scoring easily and wisely, the throw by Garcia into second base.
It's not a great idea to start a series with the other team
No.
batting all 9 in the first 2 games.
Not conducive to big winning streaks. Lester can swing it, by the way.
20 career hits for John Lester. Three-run homer Anthony Rizzo is what you missed if you just joined us. Now look, in the Sox clubhouse, as we're talking about, it's been a tough series so far. You go down big early, that kind of changes your mindset, even if you don't want it to.
Also puts a lot of strain on your bullpen if James cannot right the ship. Anthony Rizzo starting to see those RBIs pile up. He's got 23 of them.
Well, as you alluded to, James Shields is out there to get some innings and save the bullpen. He and Lester, two of the active leaders in terms of innings pitched in Major League Baseball. Both in the top 10 on the active leaderboard. 3-1 to Lester. And here's a look at those active leaders. Bartolo Colon, as you'd imagine. Shields 6, Lester 9. And the hope is that total grows for James.
Verlander's still throwing as well as he ever has.
How good is he right now?
He lost the last time out, but he only gave up 1 run to a very tough Houston team.
Lester just swung at ball 4.
Well, that's a good sign.
Well, when your team's swinging it well, you figure, I want to jump in. Joe Madden staying hydrated. 3-2. That's tipped foul. Well, you got Lester beat in career batting average. He's 20 for 224. That's 089.
Ooh, crushing him. He still has a chance, though. I'm not likely to hit again. Mercifully.
Well, they do have that Hall of Fame game. Do those count?
I don't think I could make that, certainly. So, no.
Second base, Rondon. 9 batters for the Cubs, 4 runs across. We'll play the second after this. Participating Chicagoland area Great Clips salons by May 25th to enter the Great Clips Summer Sweepstakes. The grand prize winner throws out the first pitch at Mullet Nights on Friday, June 15th, plus White Sox tickets and a pregame patio party. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME. And we'd like to welcome all our viewers watching on Independence Telecommunications Utility in Independence, Iowa, in eastern Iowa.
Is that the affiliate welcome?
It is.
It's very nice. You do it exceptionally well.
Oh, thanks. Matt Davidson, Wellington Castillo, Jose Rondon to bat in this second inning. And Matt was very open after the game. He said, look, I know people are thinking about next year, and this is paraphrasing, but we're trying to win in this clubhouse, and it's frustrating to not be able to do that. I know there's a direction toward 2019, Steve, but as you listen to Matt and the thoughts of some of the other players down there, it's not like they have it in their mind that, oh, well, we'll just do whatever we do this year and then we'll come back next year.
Well, look, this is an everyday game, and you can't tell a guy to look to the future because they don't have the future yet. It's not guaranteed to any of these players. They don't know where they're going to be next year. Obviously, some of them will be here, but some of them won't, and so you try to win today. That's what players do each and every day.
To right field, and Chris Bryant for out number 1. So 4 fly balls for John Lester so far.
This is really unusual for him because he does specialize in keeping the ball down, but at least early in this one, he has not thrown a ground ball yet. I'm thinking Wellington's going to hit the ball pretty well, especially with Lester keeping the ball up. If you look at those numbers, they're not great, but 5 home runs is good at this point of the year, considering he doesn't play every day as a catcher. He usually gives away every now and then to Omar Narvaez. Let's see if he hits this outside fastball.
Out of the hitting zone, ball 1.
A little too far outside. Contreras did a nice job of easing the ball over the corner. It was obviously wide and didn't get the benefit of the call by Adrian Johnson.
Well, here's a guy at Castillo. We mentioned yesterday that he played in 310 games with the Cubs. He's been through the rebuild process before, and he's experiencing it right now in the Sox clubhouse on the other side.
And it's not easy. There's one of those slow hooks that you usually see later in the game, but he broke it out for the Sox catcher.
Trying to get the cobwebs out.
I don't think Wellington was expecting that.
1-2. Another breaking ball at 71 this time. 2 away.
First strikeout of the game, and a couple of curveballs dispatched Wellington. Good rotation, good spin. Lester's got very good stuff, and he's staked to a 4-run lead.
He's choosy with that curveball. Doesn't,
Yep.
as you said,
Doesn't throw it much and doesn't throw it early in the game, but he threw it here.
strike 1 to the corner. That is not the ideal pitch to hit if you're Jose Rondon, who was 3 for 25 in his Padres tenure. He's gone 3 for 8 as a Sox player since his call-up with the Yohan Moncada injury. Yohan's still hopeful that he can get off the disabled list after the minimum 10 days and get in the lineup.
He wants a high fastball here.
He got it, and Rondon didn't swing.
Is the young lady certainly enjoying the game?
One of those two seems to be enjoying it. Well,
Here.
no, that's yours.
How about a cap?
Breaking ball caps the second inning for Lester. Couple of hooks. 4-0 Cubs. It's not over yet. The brawl continues. today, Kelly Kroll. Hi, Kelly.
Hey guys, well, Javier Baez leading off today for the Northsiders, and this is the first time all season. It is the 7th time in his career, but Joe Madden really liked the matchup with righty James Shields today versus, say, Almora, who has been so good against lefties this year. But we saw what Baez can do when he gets a pitch there in the zone. He said, you make a mistake, righty on righty, and Baez is going to hurt you for it, and we saw that in the first inning.
We certainly did, Kelly. Triple run scored for Baez in that first inning, and Joe Madden has deflected criticism of his lineup construction, which has shape-shifted, but that ball's grounded to the right side. Abreu's got a long way to go, and so does James. Baez is safe.
Well, the one thing that James didn't notice was the configuration of the infield, because that looked to be straightaway second base. However, they were shifted on Baez, meaning the only guy on the right was Abreu. James got off the mound slowly and then couldn't catch up. So Baez gets another hit. He's 2 for 2. And we're 1+ innings into this. And you see James hesitate. Again, not knowing the way the defense was. And as it turns out, no chance to beat Baez.
If you're thinking long term, that's not the slide you want.
No, definitely not. But effective. I don't like head first slides into first base. I've seen too many guys go right from first base to the disabled list.
There's some research that suggests you get there faster anyway by running through the base.
I always say if you got there more quickly by head first slide, Usain Bolt would be head first sliding every race he had. He doesn't. He leans through the tape, which is the fastest way to get there if you're a sprinter or somebody running the first base.
There's also a track burn issue.
It's one of those. We'll watch it again. When you dig your hand into the ground, many times you either wind up fracturing a finger, sometimes a wrist problem. We've seen elbow and shoulder problems doing just that, but Baez comes away unscathed, and Cubdom breathes a sigh of relief.
We were talking about Joe Madden and his lineups, and he basically said, you know, it's his job to put people in the best situation possible. If they change, they change. And it may be overrated, the fact that hitters get comfortable in one spot.
Well, there's so many things that go into it.
Adam Engel in center field for out number 1.
First of all, the day and age of the 400 on base percentage, the guy with the 400 on base percentage leading off, those days are gone. Now a lot of teams will use their best hitter in the one spot. Some will use their guy who makes the most contact. Some will use guys who have long at bats. Some will use guys who have good eyes, but not necessarily a walking machine. It's manager preference. And also, like Joe Madden, like some other managers, they're looking for matchups. He liked the Kelly told us that he liked the matchup of Baez against Shields. So it's turned into 2 for 2, and Joe looks pretty good at this point with his lineup configuration.
Delayed go for Baez, and he's safe. What a slide. Little sleight of hand for Javier Baez.
The ball beat him. It was a one-hop throw and a little hesitation on the tag. Baez was able to get in. We'll watch it again. Tim is there, but the swipe tag misses him. That was not a good effort by Tim Anderson. He lays the glove down instead of going for the tag, and the right hand got in. That was a tremendous slide by Baez. And for Tim, he just laid the glove down. You've got to go and definitively make a tag.
You're saying go body.
Just go get him. I mean, go out and get him instead of just laying the glove down, because you're depending, if you lay the glove down, on the base runner sliding into it. In that case, he didn't do it.
Rizzo takes ball 2 after a 3-run homer that was an ambush in the first inning. 6 for 12 now against James.
Baez now 4 of 5 in stolen bases. This is a Cub team that has only swiped 7 all year. They're 7 out of 12 in stolen bases. They don't run often.
That was dead last in Major League Baseball before that steal.
Engel's playing very shallow in center field.
typically is on the shallow side, but this is dramatic.
Especially for a guy with the power of Rizzo. He's thinking perhaps about throwing out Baez. Rizzo does get hit a lot. He stands right on top of the plate, daring you to come inside, because inside is where most of the pitchers throw him. Now you see him up on the bat. He usually does that all the time and does it much more with 2 strikes. And that time, James wanted no part of him, liking the righty-righty matchup.
Told you about the home run from Rizzo in the first. Here it is.
Low and away and gone. 106.6 exit velocity. It was a line drive, only a 20-degree launch angle. Very comfortable in the power alleys here. Doesn't matter which way the wind blows. The ball on a line will go out in the power alleys, and has since his ballpark was invented many years ago.
Two on, 1 out. Contreras. Ground ball to his dugout.
Contreras was an infielder when he started in the Cub organization, was a third baseman, a shortstop. Then because he was so athletic and they needed a catcher, they decided that he would get to the major leagues faster as a catcher. Now he's about the most athletic catcher in baseball, and he's getting better. You cannot take any liberties on the base paths, as we saw yesterday with Matt Davidson at second.
That game he had yesterday puts him as the 4th major league player since 1913 to have 2 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 homers in 2 games. The other 3 being Larry Walker in '96, Hank Aaron in '60, and Dusty Rhodes in August of '54.
Dusty Rhodes of World Series fame against the Cleveland Indians, who won 111 that year.
On the ground, Tim can't get to it. Baez around third. Engel's throw to the plate is late. I don't know if Baez touched the plate. Yes,
I think I would tag him, because
there was no signal from the plate umpire, Adrian Johnson.
Right, Adrian Johnson made no signal, and you know, usually when an umpire doesn't make a signal, that pretty much means, especially on a tag play, it means that he didn't think he touched the plate. Let's watch it again as Tim can't get to it. Told you how shallow Adam was against Rizzo, equally as shallow against Contreras. Swipe tag missed it. Now his hand went over the back. He just pointed at the plate instead of making the safe sign. That's good enough. Kind of a subtle call.
Well, typically, as you said, we both thought the same thing. If you don't see safe, you go tag the guy right away. Because
I would say the reason is that we're looking from behind Adrian. He kind of pointed to it in a very subtle manner. Apparently also said something because there was no attempt at the tag by Castillo. So anyway, the end result is 5-0, just like it was yesterday.
Kyle Schwarber, who walked and scored one of those runs in the first inning, takes ball 1.
17 now driven in by Contreras, who's having quite a series.
8 of those 17 the last 2 days.
By the way, did you say the rains is coming again?
Yeah, the hope is no. But it looks like our window spans to about 7 o'clock based on the forecast I saw before we hit the air.
We should be there around the 6th.
Ball to strike on Schwarber. I don't know that I want to see you do the weather. Could get snarky fast.
No, not
yeah,
me.
your picnic might get ruined.
No way.
There's an 80% chance of that. Schwarber, who made a heck of a throw from left field yesterday to cut down Nicky Delmonico, and those flags are really ripping. 1-2.
Well, Schwarber was a catcher. He was drafted as a catcher out of Indiana. 4th pick in the first round. Remember at the time, Theo and Jed Hoyer said that they thought he was the best bat in the draft.
And you take him for the bat.
And you took him for the bat and decided that he would be better served in the outfield, and he's he's not a great outfielder, but that bat will play, and he doesn't do a bad job in the outfield. I think he's at the point now where he's become very much of an acceptable left fielder, and he's got a great arm. I mean, if you're going to catch at a Division I Big Ten school, you got to have a pretty good arm, and he does have one of those. We saw it yesterday.
2-2. On the ground, second base. Rondon gets one. Contreras out, Rizzo to third. Join us, Star Wars Night, Guaranteed Rate Field, Saturday, May 19th. The Sox take on the Texas Rangers. First 20,000 fans get a Hawk Solo bobblehead presented by TransUnion. Visit WhiteSox.com to purchase your tickets today. Here is Hawk Solo. It's coming up soon. A week. Addison Russell takes a strike. When the Sox took Zach Collins a couple years ago, there was some rumblings of whether or not he would be a catcher. He's playing catcher now in the system, and Zach has had a nice run of it recently. His average up to 250 in Double-A with the Birmingham Barons with a home run yesterday. Not to compare the bat to Schwarber, but the same position, and drafting a catcher who's going to stay a catcher becomes a very difficult thing.
But if in fact you find one, and Sox think they have in Zach Collins, who's doing a whole lot better these days.
This should do it. Adam Engel is underneath, and the Cubs get one in the second inning. We'll play the third after this.
Wisconsin, just a short 2 hours from Chicago. Learn more at whistlingstraits.com/Sox.
Bunch of Sox fans here today, even after a tough loss yesterday, and trying to make it a comeback in game 2 of 3. Thanks for joining us. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti, our entire crew from Wrigley Field. And here's the amazing thing of the beginning of this season. The Sox are 17 under and are 8 games out of first place. Cleveland is 1 under as the leader in the AL Central.
It was Andrew Miller who gave it up yesterday, and that's a rarity. You still look at his ERA, it's phenomenal, but he came back off the disabled list showing a little rust, and Salvi Perez took one out of the ballpark. So the Indians are going to straighten it out, and when they do, they're going to decimate this division. But in the meantime, Minnesota just a half game back. Winners of 7 of their last 10, as the Indians have been losers of 7 of their last 10.
You don't think Minnesota can hang around? I mean, 18 and 19 doesn't scare you?
No. With the Indians team?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. I think the pitching is too good. I think the bullpen is too solid. That eventually they'll get it done.
We won't see Cleveland for still a couple of weeks for the first time this year.
Well, as it turns out, that's not really a great thing because they came stumbling out of the gate, and eventually this team is too good not to play well. Michael Brantley, by the way, hit a grand slam, his second home run of the year. He's going to start hitting. He's hitting over 300. And if he starts hitting, it balances out that lineup.
It's outside ball 4, first base runner for the Sox. The Indians by a half game. The Tigers 2.5 back. Royals 5.5, and the Sox at last right now. Tyler Naquin just went on the DL for Cleveland with a hamstring issue.
He also had a big day yesterday before the injury, as the Indians lose one late. They had a lead, and a big lead. Ramirez is pounding the ball once again. Jose Ramirez, last couple of years, has been a wrecking crew all by himself.
He had a very chilly start to the year. You didn't figure that would last.
I think he's hit 11 home runs, so things have heated up considerably. Take a look at the home runs all around baseball, and you'll see a proliferation of home runs this year. So a short conference between Rizzo and Bodie. Bodie hasn't been out there a whole lot, so Rizzo is talking about positioning, and now Bodie moves more to the middle. I like to see that. Rizzo, one of the true captains of this team, taking control. Anthony Rizzo, just a really good player. He's just about as good as anybody with the glove, and we've seen what he can do with the bat.
Line to left. Schwarber for out number 1. You mentioned the home runs entering play today, this being May 12th. 19 players in the majors have at least 10 home runs.
You're going to see some staggering numbers this year. I don't judge it by the distance the ball goes, because hit a 430-foot home run doesn't matter if you hit one 455. I'm looking at opposite field home runs. I'm looking at broken bat home runs. You're just seeing a whole lot of them leave the ballpark, and guys who have never hit a bunch are going to hit a bunch this year.
You'd imagine Shields would be bunting. 1 out, runner at first. But he takes. Sox being down 5-0. Maybe you don't give away the out in a situation you might have thought about it with the pitcher before.
James is a pretty good athlete. I think he can swing the bat, although he hasn't had a great opportunity to do it, spending the overwhelming majority of his career in the American League, and now he's squaring around.
167 career hitter, 23 for 138.
167 is pretty respectable.
Yeah.
He's looking.
Does he know the signs?
Nick
is the
Capra
question.
going, hey, just yell out what you want.
Why don't you just tell me what swing you want? 2-1 to Shields. I don't know that he still has an idea of what he's supposed to be doing. Just call timeout and run up there and tell him. Inside corner, 2-2. James says, yeah, cool. Two and 2. That is strike 3. 2 out.
Center fielder, Adam Engel.
2 down for Engel.
James not a happy man right now.
Lester's command has been a little frisky here in the third after 6 up, 6 down in the first 2 innings.
That time it looked like his front foot skidded a little bit when he landed and took that ball well out of the zone.
Well, this infield didn't take much water,
Nope.
if any at all.
Now they decided that it was going to rain. They knew that. It was just a question of when. And so the infield was covered, really didn't take any water. So they're not throwing a wet baseball at all when they throw it. Then they dumped all the water off the tarp that was behind shortstop and third base. And of course, Roger Bossard built this field, so it has great drainage.
Adam with a bunt, third base side, and he is safe. It's a bunt single with 2 out here in the third.
There goes the no-hitter as Adam Engel decided to lay one down. Instead of pushing it up the right side where Rizzo was very close, Baez moved back on the left side and he dumped the bunt right there. No chance at all. Looked like a wedge that backed up.
Well, you had to figure that with Ricky Renteria putting Engel at the top of the lineup, that was a distinct possibility in this game.
I think he should be doing it at the 9th spot because I think that should be a big part of his game both ways, both the drag bunt and the push bunt, especially with a left-hander on the mound.
Yeah, lineup position in a lot of ways is a mirage.
It doesn't really matter all that much. You're trying to get on base regardless of where you are in the batting order. And also, Lester has trouble throwing the baseball to the bases. So it's a good play against him if you can just get it down.
In the dirt, and Contreras blocks it 1-1. It's the young lady with the hat from earlier, taunting the other guy with the hat, and they're not even sitting next to each other anymore. It's a long distance fight. On the corner, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That's a pretty generous corner, and Tim realizes that was not a strike, but Adrian Johnson called it. Anderson usually loves the left-handers. You can see by that disparity in the batting average.
One, 2. Breaking ball, 2-2. It seems like every month or so there's a new story about what if we had the automated strike zone, and then you get stories as well about how do you make baseball quicker, and you think about those two together, and certainly if you thought about an automated strike zone, it wouldn't make the games faster.
No, it'd make it unhittable. Guys hitting 100 would lead the league with an automated strike zone.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean that you can throw a slider that can break the plane of the plate, the front corner of the plate, and the catcher would catch it a foot outside. And that would be a strike. I defy you to hit that pitch. And yet, people keep calling for the automated strike zone. I believe you can throw a curveball that comes over a strike and bounds on the plate. How are you going to hit that one?
You don't seem to be in favor of that, Steve.
No, I am not in favor of it because, well, I'd be in favor because you could make it unhittable, but I don't think guys want to see hitters hit 100 and lead the league. But I think that's a distinct possibility if you automate the strike zone.
You couldn't find a way technologically to legislate what the strike zone is currently, you don't think?
No, you could call the strike zone, but I'm saying a curveball comes over a strike and then drops on the plate, and that could happen very much so, especially a big curveball.
Nick Capra, by the way, just got hit on the ricochet that time.
Yeah. Well, came off the net and got him in the posterior.
The took us region.
In that, yeah. It took us a long time to get that shot, but yeah, got nicked too.
He only got nicked. Two. Tim pumps it to center field. Almora is on it to retire the side. 2 stranded, bottom 3 next. 3 homers his last 9 games, and a young man who was hurt last year and is doing well for himself in Winston-Salem, slugging .656 this month.
We talked to Omar Vizquel. He says he's not having a lot of problems as a manager, but he is having some problems juggling his outfielders and trying to get them some play because he got so many good players down there, which is an enviable position to be in.
Down the right field side, and a nice play by Trace Thompson to track that fly ball out. Yeah, Omar's got a team down there in Winston-Salem, and they lost yesterday, but well over 500 with the dash. Blake Rutherford, Micah Adolfo, Luis Basabe. Very talented outfield. Adolfo's been playing DH for the most part.
It didn't miss him by much, but miss him it did.
Dash, in case you're wondering, are playing down east again today, the Alexas. They're actually the Wood Ducks. That's their nickname.
It's a good name.
I didn't make it up.
Are you sure?
Uh-huh.
Okay, well,
Barely.
during the rainstorm, we did see a few ducks
Yeah.
on the infield here. Not of the wooden variety, of the walking variety.
To left field. Well hit. But it stays in the park. Garcia for out number 2.
This is why it stayed in the park, because the wind has really freshened up and knocked that ball down to left center field. Normally that's a home run. We've seen many days when that one would have gone out. James is very happy that one stayed in. He realized that it was hit very well.
Midsummer to goner.
Midsummer, it's way back, yeah.
Here's John Lester.
Of course, midsummer is going to come in November, but
I just hope that Mother Nature doesn't forget something. That we get so close to fall that summer just stops for the year.
Mother Nature's forgotten spring. We do know that, although there's been a couple of days of spring. That's been it.
There's strike 2.
James could sure use a 1-2-3 very quick inning. He's 1 strike away from doing that. Lester does hit it. James likely to stay away. No, this is the breaking ball.
On the ground, Rondon. Everything in slow motion on that play. The throw, the reaction, the run to first. Somebody hit pause, evidently. 5-0 Cubs. Delmonico's jersey number multiplied by the number of times before yesterday he led off in his Major League Baseball career? That's your question. Hashtag SoxMath on Twitter. First correct answer wins a prize from the road. And they were playing Johnny Be Good during the break. This is Johnny Be walking to first.
Yeah, apparently, and this is twice that John does it, he decides that he doesn't want to expend a great deal of energy. But I'm figuring at his age, how tired can he get trotting 90 feet?
And like ships in the night, he and Shields part ways.
Well, look, it's two veterans who have won a whole lot of games between them, over 300 games between them. And both have pitched in the postseason. Both have done it pretty well. John Lester just a little bit better in the postseason. He's had more chances to do it.
This is their 8th meeting all time. Not that one walking off the field, but 8 start against each other all time. Lester a 3.18 ERA, Shields 4.35 in those starts. To left field and diving for a base hit. Abreu's 1 for 2.
Jose is starting to really swing the bat well.
He demolished that foul ball in the first inning.
He did that, and yesterday he swung it very well all day. So we'll take another look at it. This is a promising way to start off the 4th inning. He went down, he got it. Yesterday, a couple of hits and a walk and a run scored and a run driven in. So he was one of the bright spots in the ball game yesterday.
One on, nobody out. Matt Davidson, who's 0 for 1 with a fly out to right. So they've got the stat weighted runs created plus. We've talked about it before. It attempts to equal everybody out in terms of ballpark factors and era and things like that. And average is 100. And every number you're up above 100, every digit, that's a percentage better than average. Matt right now is at 148. That's top 25 in Major League Baseball in terms of offensive production so far this year.
We got off to a torrid start, and unfortunately we've run out of Kansas City as a venue to play games, where he hit 7 of his 9 home runs. But just watching the last few at bats, I'm thinking that he's starting to see the ball well again.
2-0. Fouled away right side. "21 walks, already a career high in one season for Davidson. 2 of them coming yesterday.
If he looks inside, that's where the fastball is going to be, assuming Lester hits his spot.
Stayed out over the plate. It is 2-2. Your 2018 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate, your trusted teammate throughout the mortgage process. Experience the difference today at rate.com. There's the scene outside of Wrigley Field.
This is where you have to be careful for that slider on the outside corner. I think he's going to try to nip off that corner.
He does, right on the edge.
That's just a tough pitch because right-handers give up on it, and the ball snaps over the outside corner. Contreras called for it, then he pounded with his glove on the inside to make Matt think that he was going in, instead using the outside corner to get the called third. Just at the very end, it moves. You see the tight spin, and that's a very good pitch. Good spot for it.
1 down, Wellington Castillo. Takes ball number 1. Veteran now on this Sox team, Wellington Castillo. He's age 31. And he takes ball 2, Chuck.
Once Castillo knows what it's like to play on a rebuild. In fact, he was a part of the Cubs rebuild in 2013 and 2014. Those two teams combined to lose 185 games. Speaking with Castillo today before the game, he says this White Sox team has more talent than those two teams in 2013 and 2014 with the Cubs, but there's a learning process that has to go on with this White Sox team. For one, the players have to learn how to get out of slumps quicker as teams, find ways to end losing streaks quicker. He says it's easy to lose, it's tough to win, and you don't want to get your team used to the losing. So this is a learning process here at the major league level and a rebuilding process certainly up and down the system.
That was a below ground chuck. You've heard of ground chuck? That's below ground chuck.
And he signed with the Cubs, signed with the White Sox mainly because Rick Renteria was his manager with the Cubs. And he believes in Ricky and wants to be a part of this rebuild. And he's got the knowledge that he can pass along to his teammates here with the White Sox.
He takes ball 4 here, 2 on, 1 out. He's in the right position to do it, too, the catcher spot.
Well, also, with the young catcher, Omar Narvaez is just that. He's a left-handed counterpart in the platoon system, and Wellington getting the majority of the play. But when you have a young catcher, you certainly want to have a veteran. And Wellington Castillo is that. So Lester having some problems here in the 4th inning.
And back to Castillo, you know, I think as White Sox fans watch the struggles that this team is having, they hate losing. And speaking with Castillo today before the game, he really hates losing. You could see it in his eyes as I was talking to him. It's not, I wouldn't say it's getting to him, he just doesn't like to lose. So that's a very competitive guy who's a backstop for the White Sox right now.
Yeah, there are a lot of guys in that clubhouse, all of them, who want to win games right now, and it hasn't happened, and it's not happening in a lot of different ways. Take the lead late, don't win the game. Give up runs early, don't win the game. Get some runs early, don't win the game, and it's about finding a way around that.
Well, you won't find a guy in the field that likes losing. But the difference is when you get a team that won't accept losing, now you've got yourself a pretty good team, and that's what Ricky and his staff is trying to teach this team. Because if you like losing, you're not going to be in the major leagues. You're washed out a whole lot earlier than that, because these guys, when you look at them here, they're the cream of the crop from every place they've come, whether it's the Dominican Republic where they were the stars. They might have been signed as 16-year-olds. They dominated every league until they get signed. Guys in high school do the same thing, dominated every league that they played in, and summer league ball normally. And guys who went to college usually dominated the collegiate ranks. And then they get to the professional ranks. Then they dominate all the way up through the minor leagues, so they wouldn't be in the major leagues. But you have to learn how to win as a team. You have to learn how to stop the streaks. That's difficult to do. You have to learn how to do the little things that get you out of streaks. And what you hope for is you have a guy or two in your starting rotation that will go out and throw you a low-run game when you really need one. And that's one of the things that the Sox are missing at this point.
A stopper.
A stopper. Good teams have 2 or 3 of those guys. And this team will not have them at this point. And Lester really fighting his control right now. And while doing that, you got to figure that, number one, Jim Hickey doesn't like to see this, and Rondon's going to see a fastball here. So if he's thinking fastball, he should be in good shape if he gets it.
4 of 7 starts this year for Lester, at least 3 walks, and he's 1 ball away from his 3rd walk. Contreras, who will certainly fill up the calendar of the meeting room by taking the boardroom in his own name every once and again and call a confab, does here.
Well, that's 2 visits to the mound, and they were having trouble coming together on a sign. And so Contreras, rather than hanging a sign and Lester shaking it off and hanging another sign and Lester shaking it off, decided to verbally go out and figure out what he wants.
Three and one. That's low and in. Ball 4.
No,
it's not.
Yeah, it's called a strike. Tripp Gibson said he did swing at it.
I don't think he did.
We'll take another look. That's what Tripp saw. He thought he went too far.
Wow. Three and two. That is not what you like. Bottom four coming next.
That first slide gets him in at first base. Then the delayed steal, and James was not looking. A great slide at second base, and then scoring and a good slide at the plate. That young man is a bundle of talent, and factor in 10 home runs, 34 RBIs, and there's not much he can't do.
Pitch number 65 is ball number one. Baez, who came in the National League RBI leader, who's one behind Manny Machado. And Machado so far today already has a home run, his 13th of the year, raising his value. High in the air, deep left field for Baez. Garcia at the warning track, and the wind holds up another.
Once again, without that wind, and James is pretty happy, he got a smile on his face. He knew that Baez got most of that one, but the wind knocked it down. He looks up at the flags. Leary having some conversation with the bleacherites. They thought they had a souvenir, but Mother Nature said, think again. That is howling toward the right field corner. Going to take the ball out in straightaway right field, but it's going to knock everything down in left, especially if it's that high.
I thought chicks dig the long ball. What happened to Mother Nature?
Not so much.
Another one in the air. It's not where to put it right now. Adam Engel for out number two. Here's your Sox math winner. It was easy today. All you have to do is multiply by 0 and get 0. 30 is Nicky's number, but that doesn't matter. He had never led off before, and White Sox 06-1705 knew it first. Weekend Sox math. Congratulations. You win a prize from the road. And 2 out for Anthony Rizzo. 6 in a row. Now 7 retired by James Shields. That is hammered foul.
It'll go that way. The wind is not going to hold it up down the right field line or in straightaway right field. A souvenir? and a Blackhawks logo.
Feels like a Hawks game today.
The outdoor Hawks game. This is really chilly. Temperature started at 46. I don't think they've gone up much. And Rizzo on the backswing hit Castillo. James done a good job of righting the ship after a very shaky first. Gave up 4 in the first, just 1 in the second, but he stayed around knowing that his job today was to eat up innings. And he's in the process of doing just that, staying out of the bullpen, which saw a whole lot of pitchers yesterday.
Serve to left. Garcia for out number 3. The saga continues. This is Act 1. Give me your hat. Here, take the hat. I don't want it. I just don't want him to have it. Now, the taunting from afar. And Act 3 is, guess what happened? Everybody saw what we were doing. I still hate you, but everybody saw it. It's TV with Xfinity X1. Did you ever think, when you started your TV career, that there was a way that you could talk to your remote? By the way, there probably weren't remotes at the time.
Yes, there were.
There were?
Yeah.
When you started your career?
Routinely tell somebody to change the channel from the other room.
You didn't get up and do the VHF?
No, absolutely not. But no, I never thought that that would happen. However, technology being what it is, and me just discovering computers and smartphones, we've come a long way.
We congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Garcia walked his first time up and takes a big swing.
Lester throwing it pretty well, just 2 singles, one by Engel, that was a bunt, one by Abreu, that was a line drive rocket, and that's been it. The double play erasing what looked like a promising last inning.
Called strike 3. Low portion of the zone, 1 down.
We'll take another look. And Contreras tries to frame it, brings it way back up, and Adrian Johnson thought it was good enough. Leary differed.
1 out, Trace Thompson, who's 5 for 46 in his very short second stint with the Sox.
Outfield straight away, infield playing him as a dead pull hitter. Normally that would tell you that Lester is going to throw soft breaking balls, which he just did, or when he does go to a fastball, it's going to be inside. This is a slider in.
Caught Out again, the low portion of the zone, 1-2.
Very exciting for that Cub fan.
It's been a long day. Rain delay of 2:10.
It has been.
Got to get your nap in. For a pitcher, what do you do during that lengthy rain delay? How do you stay in it?
You really don't. I mean, you go through your routine, but it's just one of those things where you sit around and you just wait for the game to come up, and when you know when the start is, that's when you start the mental preparation. But that preparation has been started long before the rain delay.
Schwarber in left. Squeezes out number 2. Sox fans, join us as the White Sox take on the Texas Rangers Thursday, May 17th, 7:10 p.m. First 10,000 fans get a free Ricky's Boys Don't Quit t-shirt presented by the Village of Bedford Park. Bring your business home to Bedford Park and win big. Purchase your tickets today by visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME.
Toughest thing for a pitcher is when you throw a couple of innings and then you get a rain delay. Because depending on where you are in your career, whether you're young or whether you're a little bit older, or if you're young and have battled injuries a couple of different times, there comes a time when you're saying, I just can't go out and do it anymore. Most pitchers who are still youthful pitchers, and I'm thinking anything below 30 years old, you can go out there and you can wait an hour with no problem whatsoever. You get to be the hour-and-a-half range. If you're throwing a couple of innings, then you start thinking about maybe coming out and going to the bullpen, getting somebody else to come in.
What are you feeling if it goes longer? Do you feel that in your arm, or is it?
Yeah, you can feel, number one, you can feel a little stiffness. That certainly is the case. Also, you know, if you've had some injuries, that you don't want to go out there and risk it again, because you've heated up, you've warmed up, you've pitched a couple of innings in earnest, and then now you're shut down and you go back in the locker room and try as you might to stay loose, to stay warm. The longer you go, the more difficult it is. And so that's why guys don't want to go out there. They know they have a long season ahead, especially with the Cubs. They believe, and justifiably so, they're going to go to the playoffs. So to get yourself hurt in May doesn't make a great deal of sense, especially when the bullpen is as good as the Cubs pen, and it's really good.
To right, Bryant is there to make the play. Shields gave it a run. And Chris Bryant tracked it well. 1-2-3 inning for Lester.
She was able to tell us that it appears the rain is going to come again, but not supposedly till 7 o'clock. So that young fan is checking the smartphone, trying to figure out when the rain is going to get here.
Hey, it's time to party at the park this season. From a pregame patio to the fan deck, White Sox party areas are perfect for hosting groups of 10 to 1,000. For more information, 312-674-1000 or visit whitesox.com. Well, Wilson Contreras is a little tired of the rain, and you couldn't blame him. He had a wedding that he had to get to that had to be postponed a couple of times because of rainouts for the Cubs this year. He had a date, and then that was filled by a makeup. And then finally, he and his new bride, I think it was 9 days ago last week, got hitched. That's the life of a baseball player in a rainy first month, is that your wedding sometimes gets jettisoned.
Well, the way he's hitting this series, I wish he'd have taken a prolonged honeymoon. Apparently, he decided to wait till the offseason.
There are a number of lists now that you can be on in Major League Baseball. The paternity list is one of them, certainly, and we don't have a wedding list as yet, a matrimony list.
Not yet, but we will in the next collective bargaining agreement. Sox fans enjoying the concession stands. They're good here, just not quite as good as at Guaranteed Rate Field.
So I came here as a kid at one point, and
A couple years ago?
yeah, thank you. I had a burger here at Wrigley Field,
And
being a kid who still had baby teeth, I lost one of the teeth biting in the burger.
oh, but if you did get it, you usually get, what was it, $100 when you were growing up?
The tooth fairy is a little cheaper than that in the Benetti household. So I hand the tooth over to my parents, and they say, okay, you know. So I'm eating the burger more later. And I say, hey, I lost another tooth. And they say, no, you don't. You're just feeling the one that you lost before, and, you know, there's a gap and everything. And nope, I produced the tooth, and there it was. I lost 2 teeth
Jeez.
and 1 burger at a baseball game.
Can I buy a burger?
These are all permanent.
Oh, okay.
What's wrong with you? 1 out for Schwarber.
That was a good change and had Schwarber well out in front of it. Good pitch.
And before we hear anything about that, that was not an attack on the food here at Wrigley Field. It's simply that I was young and was losing the teeth anyway.
I thought it was a bit of an attack personally, but okay, if you say so, no. All right.
Ball and a strike on Schwarber. You know, it's really nice that you're always there to hold the football for me and then pull it up at the last second.
I don't think I would eat in the press dining room tomorrow before the game if I were you.
Ball and 2 strikes. Schwarber. Chuck, help me.
Yeah, I'm trying to just imagine this. There was a moment in time when a young Jason Benetti lost 2 of his teeth in a burger.
Uh-huh.
And an elder and wiser Steve Stone was probably in the park that day calling the game with Harry Carey, right?
It's probably very true.
I would assume so.
This is a long con by Steve. He actually somehow made that happen. Didn't even know you at the time. Good point, Chuck.
And while you're making that point, Kyle Schwarber did not agree with the call on the swing, but he's out nonetheless. It could very well be our Chuck. I'm pretty sure I was here. Was here 21 years. Good change, and Schwarber didn't think he swung. Might have a case there, but he's going to take a seat anyway.
Well, Steve, you see everything. You do see everything, so I'm wondering if you happened to see Jason Benetti lose his 2 teeth that day.
No, that I didn't see.
Okay.
Yeah, it was before cameras were invented. So
No, they didn't have remotes. Ball and a strike on Addison Russell, who's 1 for 2. Chuck, are you still subterranean down there?
I am. This is my spot.
You got a bunker.
well, the wind has died down, so you should be in pretty good shape. By the way, a very stylish hat you have there.
That's Chuck Cam.
Some of us are outside, Steve.
Well, I tell you what, I am going to get you the giveaway from early season for the White Sox because that was a really good-looking stocking cap, and it certainly beats the one you have. You pay about, what, 12 cents for that?
15.
You paid too much.
It's keeping me warm. That's all that matters.
It's functional, I know.
What's that tool out in front of you there?
You know, I was looking at this earlier. I don't know what this is, but it's here. I think maybe you use it to smooth out the dirt. I'm not exactly sure.
Huh.
But it's here.
2-2 is grounded foul. Chuck reporting live from wherever they send the president when there's an emergency.
I feel like I'm very safe here. No matter what happens in the world, I'll be safe in this spot.
We have Kelly in another undisclosed location just in case of a problem. It's off the plate, 3-2.
These are new, these camera wells here at Wrigley Field. They are, I guess, a challenge for some of the cameras here. They're not exactly the best locations, but you know, when they did an amazing job refiguring the dugouts here, but the cameras are in a kind of an odd spot.
3-2 popped up right side of the infield. I'm sure Chuck has a good look at it. And there is out number 3. We will go to the 6th and hear from Ricky Renteria on his lineup construction today. One thing after this. What's gone into your decision the last 2 days with a leadoff man that looks quite different each day?
Well, the other day was Nicky's ability to get on base, obviously, historically from his time here at the major league level. And then, you know, trying to shake up and putting Sanchi in a situation where maybe he'd have some guys on base. He's been driving the ball to drive in runs a little bit more. And we were hoping that, you know, obviously putting him in that 4 slot wouldn't change his mentality, which it did not. He still had very good at-bats in that slot. Today it's trying to put some speed out there. We all know that every now and then, if you put the ball in front of the mound, there might be a chance for us to, you know, get on base. He's actually, you know, been a career leadoff hitter, so we want to put him there one more time to give him another little look at that spot. And then, you know, as we saw, we probably stacked our guys pretty much full of righties today, other than Leroy, who's in the outfield, including Shieldsy, who's a right-handed hitter. And see what we can do, see if we can generate something, keep the line moving, and, you know, if Enge's able to get on with the speed that he has, you know, hopefully he can put a ball in the gap or whatever the case might be, and or if he can get into scoring position, be able to just throw a knock out there and score some runs.
Bat on ball, get in scoring position. There it is. Adam Engel with a leadoff double in the 6th.
Schwarber did not play that one particularly well. Didn't realize it was hit as hard as it was, and it rocketed over his head.
Just as we said, lineup construction matters to the psyche of the player.
Lifetime leadoff hitter, feeling comfortable, has a bunt hit and a line drive. Hit the ball pretty well the first time up.
Into right center, Almora is over. Engel tags from second and bolts for third. So the Sox have that first run 90 feet away with Abreu coming up.
You have to figure the infield would be back. There's no way you're going to play them in with a 5-run lead, especially with the bullpen that Joe Maddon has.
One for Jose. Then your charge is either a ground ball to the middle infield or even to first, and then the other option is a fly ball. A couple productive outs out there, along with the obvious choice of just hitting it out of the ball yard. Here's your ground ball, and it gets the run home. Leadoff double pays off. Sox get a run. Abreu the RBI.
RBI number 21 for Jose. Does a good job with the infield back. He knows he just has to make some contact and narrow the gap to 4. It's a high cutter, and Jose takes it to second base. Good play by Bodie. This is good hands going to his left, but not before Engel able to score.
Adam, who 3 years ago with Winston-Salem in A-ball stole 65 bases, and then 2 years ago in the minors stole 45 more. Does exactly what Ricky Renteria was hoping when he wrote out the lineup this morning.
Cubs, who started out a little shaky on the defensive side, lately playing pretty good baseball. They've gone 5 games in a row without making an error. And that's a season high 5. Looking for that 6th, and so far it's been flawlessly executed.
Ball 3 for Davidson, who's 0 for 2 with a fly out to right and a strikeout. Cubs right now behind Joe Maddon in a quagmire of 4 teams in the NL Central, all within a game and a half of each other. St. Louis, the leaders starting play today by a half game, and then by 1 over Pittsburgh, 1.5 over the Cubs.
Really amazing what St. Louis has been able to do without their leader, Yadier Molina. Plus Carlos Martinez, who went on the disabled list for 10 days.
That
Club
takes
has stayed
ball 4.
afloat. Winners of 7 of their last 10. And
Yeah.
the walk keeps the inning alive.
I think you and I left St. Louis thinking that that team could very easily be a playoff team. At least I did. I don't know about you.
I thought it was a good team, and I thought if they were going to be a playoff team, it would have to be as a wild card, because I think the Cubs are going to win the division. Jim Hickey coming out. There you look at the standings with the Brewers a half game back. The Pirates right there at 1 back. And in a bunched up National League Central, the Cubs just a game and a half back coming into play today.
White Sox fans, celebrate your Italian roots with Italian Heritage Night, presented by Beggar's Pizza, when the Sox take on the Rangers Friday, May 18th. Italian Heritage Night will feature specially priced tickets and a post-game fireworks show. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/Italy.
Cubs been up and going. Justin Wilson, you might remember him from the Detroit Tigers, always had a very good arm. And this bullpen, we talked about how good it is. They've got 5 guys with an ERA of 2.16 or better. And that's pretty good. Dunsing, Edwards, Morrow, Strope, and Cishek. Not among them Wilson, who has thrown the ball much better lately. He would give him an even better pen. And Sox fans enjoying their day here despite 2 hours and 15 minutes of rain that delayed this game.
Ball and a strike on Wellington Castillo. Lester still short of 90 pitches in this game. His maximum this year, 107.
That was the pitch he got him on when he struck him out in the 2nd inning. And looks like he's intent on doing it again. Slow hook, good rotation. Disappears at the last instant as Wellington swinging over the top. Some problems in the third. That's been about it.
Outside.
Lester's acting like he wanted that, but that one was a good 3-4 inches off the outside corner.
Davidson at first, 2-2 on Castillo. Outside again. Lester with a glare, and again it was outside.
Well, I mean, the outside corner does not extend 3 inches, and despite the best efforts of Contreras, that ball was off the plate.
Where does he go here?
Normally you stay outside, but that's the outside cutter. He's going to try to nip the outside corner with that cutter.
Castillo to center field. Davidson books it for third, and Wellington puts runners at the corners in this sixth.
Wellington came in 2 for 5 against Lester lifetime and had no contact in 2 at-bats with a walk and a strikeout. There is the cutter, and Wellington takes it right back up the middle by a diving Bodie. It keeps the inning alive, and it appears that's going to be it for John Lester.
Lester doesn't want that to happen. However, Joe Maddon says, give me the ball. So the Cubs go to the bullpen for the first time today. 5-1 your score. Sox trying to mount a comeback.
.386, a 1-0 record, out for the 16th time. He's been a specialist, only 14 innings of work, but 18 strikeouts. He does throw hard, 95, 96 normally.
He guns in strike one. It's a big spot. Sox trying to mount a comeback here in the sixth. Rondon 3 for 10 in his very short White Sox career thus far. On the ground, Addison Russell, the short flip, and that's all she wrote for the Sox in the sixth. Abreu the RBI. It's 5-1.
the game, someone who is with his team through thin and thinner and never misses a game. Do you have what it takes? If you do, you can enter NBCSportsChicago.com/White Sox AF.
Sounds great. Commemorative bases here at the ballpark.
There they are. White Sox versus Cubs. They will probably use those for charitable auctions and raise some money for a very good cause.
First base side, Abreu waves for it and makes the catch. Little juggling job by Jose. He does birthday parties and bar mitzvahs too, and one away.
Well, he's calling for it and hits off the glove. Fortunately, hits his hand and comes back to him. Jose normally exceptional on those, but this time the wind befuddled him a touch. By the way, we got to give a little credit to James Shields, who had a tough first 2 innings, threw a whole lot of pitches, and in the meantime has retired 12 straight. Base hit by Contreras that drove in a run in the second. The last hit and the last man the Cubs have gotten.
Strike one from Shields to Bodie, who drove in a run in the first. His 5th career RBI on 4 career hits. As we check in with Kelly Kroll.
Well, guys, David Bodie may be a more unfamiliar name to some of the Sox fans here watching today, and certainly he's flown under the radar in this Cubs organization for about the last 4.5 years. Jason, you mentioned the 18th round of that 2012 draft, the one that also, of course, produced Albert Almora Jr. And Madden said, you know, it was in spring training this year that he really got to watch Bodie every day, and he noticed great bat speed, the fact that he could play multiple positions, and he's very confident in himself. And guys, we have seen him making the most of his opportunities up here. So David Bodie, someone who's filling in at second base today so that Madden can move the guys all over the field.
Certainly is, Kelly. That base hit on an ambush in the first inning drove in a run, and right before he came to the big leagues this year, he had 13 hits in a 5-game span, so he's swinging it well at Iowa.
Well, that draft position, the 19th round, the only thing it means is how much money you're going to get up front.
Tim plucks it at short and couldn't get around it for the throw. A little double clutch. Bodie is on with 1 out.
Couldn't get the ball out of his glove originally, and it got him the base hit. So that's his second hit, 2 for 3 with a run driven in. We'll take another look. He's got it here, but one too many steps, one too many pats of the glove, and Bodie able to beat it out.
So Joe Madden wanting to get some innings out of Justin Wilson, looking for his first career hit. David Bodie, by the way, who when he was drafted by the Cubs was on a mission trip in Kenya. Talk about getting the news in an interesting way.
You guys, another thing about Bodie, Madden said he really liked, is that he's from Colorado, because the manager here doesn't believe that guys growing up there get to play as much. The weather is bad, and he goes, you know what that means? Guys usually blossom later in their career, and I think that's exactly what he's doing. So, hey, there's another positive for Bodie.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly. There is, you came from not the biggest hotbed, Steve, Ohio, not demeaning your state.
No,
but you don't get to play as much as you do in the South.
The weather wasn't good, but I don't think it benefits hitters. I think it benefits pitchers, because you limit the innings, you limit the strain on the arm. As far as hitters, you want them to get as many at-bats as possible. So you want your hitters coming from Florida, Texas, California. You want them coming from places where it's warm and you get to play a whole lot of games. We had a 24-game schedule, high school schedule, as Wilson goes down on strikes. 24 games, 18 were played below 40 degrees. So you're not going to strain your arm all that much during the high school schedule part of it. And then, of course, there's summer league, but we didn't play near as much as some of the guys. And I think for pitchers, I think it saves your arm. So, you know, I managed to scrape together 14 years. And I think that I think that it helps pitchers. As far as hitters is concerned, you want them to get the at-bats.
Jace Fry was just talking about the same thing the other day. He grew up in Oregon, Sox lefty in the bullpen, grew up in Oregon, and not only would they have a short schedule, but all the rain that they have there, as that ball's drilled to left field by Javi Baez down the line and foul. All the rain, you just lose some games inherently, so there's not a lot of use on Jace Fry's arm out there in the Sox bullpen for a lot of the similar reasons. The weather was probably better where you were from.
Not better than Oregon. It was much worse in Oregon.
Well,
because
they get so much rain there,
but you don't have snow in Oregon. Yes. And the pen up and going. So Beck and Bummer.
Ball and a strike on Baez. Bodie at second, Baez at the plate. And a twisting strike 2. Why do people throw him pitches in the zone?
Not a great idea, but certainly enough of them do, because he's sitting there with a batting average in the low 280s. Not to mention huge amount of runs batted in. Another sweeping slider away probably gets this at bat over.
That's not a knock on the guy either, me saying that, but he struggles with the ball out of the zone and holding up. Breaking ball in and out of the zone, and Baez chopped down by Shields. We will go to the 7th. Home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB at Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. 7, 8, and 9 coming up for the Sox. Garcia, Thompson, then the pitcher's spot, with James Shields having gone through 6. There's a strike, 1-1. Justin Wilson in for John Lester, who went 5 2/3, gave up 4 hits and 1 run that was earned. 3 walks, 5 strikeouts.
Tigers had 2 Wilsons. They decide to move along Justin. They kept Alex.
This is the rare Wilson to Wilson battery. Justin Wilson to Wilson Contreras. It's a good look. The quill pen motif. Two and two.
That trade the Cubs made, they gave up a pretty good player in Candelario. We saw him. He's going to be a good third baseman. He's pretty good now. And they got Wilson back along with Alex Avila and a little cash. Went the Tigers' way in that deal.
Were you ever traded for money?
No. Don money? Absolutely not. I was traded a couple of times. Never in season, though. I think that's a disruption that fortunately I avoided. I was traded to the White Sox initially, along with Ken Henderson, for Tom Bradley. I thought Bradley was going to be a 20-game winner, but he went to Candlestick Park and realized what everybody except for Juan Marichal and Gaylord Perry realized, that it was a tough place to pitch. The aforementioned Marichal and Perry made the Hall of Fame.
Addison Russell for out number one. Well, it being the Christmas season based on the weather, let's go to the swap meet and do some shopping. Chris Kampka has cooked up these two guys, the Swap Master General, as he's named today. Who do you want, left or right?
I'll take right.
Okay, so I get the better slugging percentage.
Absolutely.
Thank
And
you.
the more games and the more home runs, but a lower batting average, on base percentage rather.
Who could it be?
If it's the same guy again, I'm going to protest.
Couldn't be. They're
Stan
both
Musial
career
the last
numbers.
time. What's that?
They're both career numbers. Couldn't be the same guy.
Well, you never know. Chris is very sneaky that way.
He is.
Maybe a career in Japan and a career here.
Huh.
That's a question down the road for Ichiro, by the way, for Chris Kampka, just a suggestion.
You're lobbying the Swap Master General?
Sure.
Ball and a strike on Thompson from Wilson. He's a California native, born in Anaheim, went to Fresno State. Trace's family well known in California, certainly.
I would think so, because of Clay, his brother, playing for the Warriors.
Well, they fought so long, he disappeared her.
Looks like he's trying to catch a seagull. That's usually not a good idea.
Seems as hard as it looks. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Sox got a run in the 6th on the Abreu RBI groundout, scoring angle. Two and two. Sox and Cubs will play game number 3 under the blankets tomorrow. It's a 1:20 start time. Lucas Giolito against Kyle Hendricks. He's got a 3.02 ERA.
Well, the league in earned run average a couple of years ago. Hendricks, master of the changeup.
Foul ground, third base side. Baez with a soft lean for out number 2. All right, so let's see what we bought at the swap meet. Get those receipts. I've got the guy on the left. You've got the guy on the right. Who are they? Wow, first base coach battle. Debo against the Princeton guy.
You got the bigger guy, I do know that.
That's true. Does mine come with a complimentary whistle for purchase?
You haven't heard that whistle much since Toronto.
Josh Donaldson might have gotten the customs people to take it away from him.
Nicky Delmonico with a chance to get in at bat.
And he takes ball 1. Sox don't have much in the way of right-handed options on the bench. Yolmer Sanchez, the switch hitter, and Narvaez and Polka, 2 lefties, along with Nicky. There's Yolmer. Who was evidently, according to Chuck Garfien, playing basketball during the rain delay with the dirty clothes hamper. Steve, I got a tweet from Nick Paskett 386. He's tweeted a picture. He's a Sox fan, evidently living in Oregon. He says, please let Steve know there is snow in Oregon. Hashtag Go Sox.
Only in May. Apparently only in May.
There's a strike, 3-2. Isn't it nice to have Twitter where people can immediately react to things you say?
It's great. I really like it. Let's see.
Three and 2 on Nicky. Justin Wilson has retired all 3 he's faced so far. Payoff pitch. In the air. Short right center. Bodie gives way. Almora makes the catch. And a 1-2-3 7th for Wilson. First game in Pittsburgh, and what a beautiful welcome he got from the fans, who we will see in just a couple of days. However, the Pirates greeted him rather rudely. Starling Marte, who took over for him in center field with a bomb to left. And why not one more? Pirates with not the nicest welcome. And Chris Beck out of the bullpen for the Sox, first reliever today.
On for the 8th time. He's been throwing it pretty well. And James Shields did a very good job after a very tough 2. He kept the Sox out of the bullpen till the 7th, so he did his job after yesterday's game. They needed a long outing, and James gave him that. He held him right there, giving the offense a couple of opportunities to come back in this game. It's currently a 4-run lead, but he gave up 4 in the first, 1 in the second, and then shut the door.
Two balls, no strikes for Beck. It's utterly freezing out there. Wouldn't you agree, Steve?
I would say it's cold enough to wear a cow hat.
Wonder what your threshold for that is.
About 50.
50 is cow hat cold?
Yeah, I break out the bovine accoutrements.
What's 2 cow hat cold? It's like 3 dog night, right?
That's it.
Cow hat and scarf. That is ball 4. Chuck Garfien, what you got?
Well, I've heard from many of you on Twitter about what this tool is used for. I even heard from Scott Podsednik, who you are going to see on White Sox Postgame Live. He says what this is it's used to dig dirt out of the square post that the base fits into. You'll see these on all fields in minor leagues, little league fields. I don't know why I've missed this all my entire life, but anyway, that's what this is for. I asked Scott what is the name of this tool. He doesn't know. But there we go.
It's a cake thing. It's the base digger upper.
Yeah.
It's not the technical term. Chuck, thank you. Don't know how you get reception for your microphone below ground like that, but well done. So 5 in a row, Steve, out of the zone from Beck.
Bad thing to do when Rizzo comes up knowing that he's just looking dead red, and if he does get it with the wind blowing toward the right field corner, he can hit it a long way. Already saw a 3-run homer opposite field in the first inning. That was into the teeth of the wind, but the line drive went out rather easily for him.
Anthony Rizzo, who was originally with Boston, then traded to the Padres in 2010, the Adrian Gonzalez deal. 2012, Andrew Kashner trade got him here to the Cubs. Two 2-0. On the ground, Rondon smothers it and gets 1. Nice play by Jose, stretching out for the first out.
That was a very good play, and they almost got the 2. Nice stop by Jose, making sure that ball didn't get by. A good effort, and flat foot throw by Anderson, giving an idea how strong that arm is. Take a look again. He doesn't have a chance to take a step because Chris Bryant is right up in his grill, and so you've got to have a strong arm to do that. And Jose bats it down. Rizzo stays at first. Nice effort.
1 on, 1 out, Wilson Contreras. We had mentioned you could follow us on Twitter. Steve will send an in-game tweet to you every once and again, but here's a tweet that I'd like to share.
Sure.
So Matthew Berg says, and I think this is maybe a backhanded compliment or maybe not a compliment at all. Matthew says, enjoying the game with my dad and he fell asleep. So that's the backhanded portion of it. It would make my day no year if you told him to wake up. His name is Fred. Keep up the great work.
Well, tell him that you can't possibly tell Fred that during the course of the game, would you?
What, that Fred should wake up?
Yeah, you can't say that.
You don't think so?
No.
Fred wake up?
No, can't say that.
Yeah, I shouldn't do it. You're right.
No, don't wake up, Fred. Obviously a Sox fan with not a whole lot to cheer about these 2 games especially.
Contreras center field. And gone. The unstoppable Cubs backstop makes it 7-1.
Well, unfortunately, the wind that was howling toward the right field corner has let up a bit, but Contreras just smoked that one. He now has 4. Our Ford home run replay. It's a fastball right down the middle, and Contreras doesn't miss it. He's swinging it too well at this point of the season to miss it, and he knows this one is gone. 3 driven in. He's got 19 for the year. And that was a bomb.
That's 9 for 14 his last 3 games. So he gets married last week. He turns 26 tomorrow. It has been quite the month for Wilson Contreras. The shift is once again on it, and Schwarber busting it down the line, nearly beat out the throw.
Yeah, Rondon better put a little something on those throws, because Schwarber thought he had the play beat and almost did run it into a base hit. He wants to take another look at it. He thought he was safe. Usually these lollipop throws wind up with some problems, and Schwarber maybe out literally by an eyelash.
Two out for Russell. So that is back-to-back days. Contreras has homered off of Beck. 2-run shot this 7th inning to expand the lead for the Cubs to 7-1. Well, the fight continues across 3 people now. She does have a bat, however, so she's tooled up.
That'll sway the festivities.
Looks like maybe the energy's waning. Three balls and a strike to Addison Russell. Check swing and strike 2. Three balls and 2 strikes. Very nice of the Cubs, though, to make us feel at home with the guaranteed rate ads. That was kind. A little hospitality. 3-2. Downstairs. Let's quiz Steve on his own career, this being a series that involves 2 teams you played for. Who hit a 3-run homer off of you in your first career start at Wrigley Field?
Billy Williams. The reason I know that is that I threw him a slow curveball in spring training, and he hit it off the end of the bat and tapped it right back to me with 2 on. And he remembered that. I didn't think he remembered that. So with 2 on here, I threw him a slow curveball, and he hit a 3-run homer. So I'm going to say Billy Williams, but I can hardly remember back that far.
Seemed like you're hesitating a little bit.
Yeah, spring training is just that, and sometimes Hall of Famers remember what you did to them to get them out, and Billy certainly did.
And you're a winner. We're not going to show you the answer because...
You sure?
Yeah. You win a new car, actually.
Oh, great.
By getting it with a story attached.
Mine just got washed today.
Your car?
Yeah, during that 2-hour rain delay.
You've never paid for a car wash in your life, have you? You just park it in a monsoon.
Well, no, I like the different colors that your car becomes when you let a black car get dirty. It's a little gray, a little sandy. It's kind of nice, actually.
I thought you were going to say when you drive the car through the car wash, you just like seeing all the pretty colors with the soap and everything. Two 2-0 from Beck to Almora. Check swing. He didn't go. 3-0. Cubs got 4 in the first inning after a 5-run first inning yesterday. .30 is spiked to the backstop. Russell, a slow walk to second base. So 2 on, 2 out, and Bodie coming up.
It's going to bring Ricky Renteria out to the mound, and it appears that will be it for Chris Beck, unless Ricky wants to deliver a message, and the message is give me the ball. So Chris will depart, and as he does, so will we.
Serve all military families.
It's a Lakeside Bank call to the pen, and it is Aaron Bummer. So on for the 19th time, an 0-1 record, a 4.91 ERA. You look at the rest of the numbers, and he inherits a couple of Cubs at first and second.
He also inherits the win here at Wrigley Field, which has helped some pitchers today with balls in the air.
Contreras hit it too hard, and so did Rizzo, so no chance to knock those down. They were rockets both.
Don't tell me George Jacobs is leaving. M&M jacket has made an about face. Come on, George. Wow.
Used to be able to go the distance. Not any longer.
You know,
must be the beard.
Well, it's the era, right? I mean, 7 innings and out. Used to be a complete game in him. Go to second is late. We were just talking about that the other day. You just don't see the longevity anymore.
Nope.
In Major League Baseball. 1-0 is downstairs. 2-0 from Bummer to Bodie. This game started 2 hours and 15 minutes late due to rain. It's downstairs. 3-0. Inside ball four, 3 straight walks, 4 in the inning. Sox this year do lead Major League Baseball in walks per 9 by the pitching staff at 4.6. What's surprising is, as Mark Zagunis comes up to pinch hit, what's surprising is the next 2 teams in walks per 9 by the pitching staff are the Braves and Cubs, who are well over 500. Zagunis gets a breaking ball down. Inside, 2-0, so 6 in a row from Bummer out of the zone. And there are the walked Russell, Almora, and Bodie. Two-0. It's down. 3 balls, no strikes. Downstairs, ball 4. That walks in a run. It's charged to Beck. Russell scores. And Aaron Bummer fighting his control.
5 walks in the inning, 4 in a row, and a succession of thrown balls without a strike. Here comes Don Cooper.
That's 13 in a row out of the strike zone. And we remind you, you can enjoy White Sox baseball from the comforts of the Guaranteed Rate Club while providing your guests with the ultimate all-inclusive White Sox experience. This private club's the best way to entertain your most important clients, employees, friends, or family, and are available for season ticket packages or individual games. For more information, 312-674-1000.
Pin up and going. It's Bruce Rondon. Could be a 2 Rondon game. Got one at second, and then there's Bruce.
Well, we are down a couple Garcias.
True.
There's a strike. Sox with the 3 Garcia outfield last year.
Bases loaded over the course of his career. Bodie Baez hitting .208, but 3 grand slams.
Javi Baez felt like a strike was coming. Anderson at shortstop loads up a throw across the way and does get the out. Cubs get 3 in the inning, though, and expand the lead to 8-1. mound, and it was Carlos Lee with just a mammoth home run, a grand slam, and the celebration was on. Herbert Perry said, okay, forget about it, good job. Everybody else was stoked. Herbert was in there for a while, but celebrations wane. So, Carlos Lee with that grand slam for the Sox and a walk-off, and here comes Carl Edwards Jr.
He's got an electric arm on for the 17th time. Look at that ERA, .53. Yikes. Everything he throws looks like a cutter. And when he's right, you just can't square it up. We talked about the 5 guys Sox have out of their pen with ERAs of .216 or better. And he's one of those guys.
It's quite the sizable hat he's got.
I will say one thing. He does have a fastball that looks like Mariano Rivera. And if he has 25% of the career that Mariano had, he will be very successful. Comes out of the Texas organization. Cubs got him early. Turned out to be a great trade. He has one of the really good arms in baseball.
Two balls and 2 strikes. You said it, though. This bullpen is just loaded.
Top to bottom, one of the strengths of this team, and they've got a few of them.
2-2 for Engel, who's had a nice day at 2 for 3. He doesn't create comfortable at bats, that's for sure. Three and 2. Adam rips it down into center field. 3rd hit for Adam Engel this afternoon.
Maybe a new leadoff hitter has been discovered by Ricky Renteria and his desire to get something at the top, and a guy with a lot of speed, and also a guy who spent a lot of time as a leadoff hitter before he got to the major leagues. He reaches out, takes his ball away, cracks the bat, but got 2 singles, a double, and a run scored. So a big productive day at the top for Adam Engel.
3rd career game with 3 hits or more for Adam. And now Tim Anderson. Adam had a 4-hit game last June in Minnesota in a 9-0 Sox win. Will reach the seats 1-1. And the fight is on for the baseball. Lucas Giolito, Kyle Hendricks, your starting pitchers tomorrow. Another 120 start planned.
Looks like that will be the opportunity to take one in the series, assuming there's a tremendous rally in this one.
Sox will be home next, coming up on Thursday. The Rangers and then the Orioles will be in town for a wraparound homestand. Tim checked his swing on the breaking ball and did go strike 3. 1 out. Tim disagrees. Time now for Lowe's whole team together. And it's about the Cubs bullpen, which has held teams down this year. A .263 bullpen ERA, 3rd best in baseball. And lo and behold, or lows and behold, the teams with the best bullpens are having success, Steve.
Not surprising. Especially with starting pitchers going shorter and shorter. for their starts. The bullpen comes into play a great deal more these days than it ever did. There is a Seagull right at shortstop.
Is it Robert Seagull?
There's a few of them trying to distract Addison Russell.
Is he doing the news on radio at shortstop?
Dinner time.
No 2. Up high with a fastball. Okay, so where's the park where you've seen the most birds? I know you played in San Francisco.
This is right up there. Taking advantage of the nachos, I think.
I
Looking
race
for some salsa.
All you need is a chip and a chair. 1-2.
That was a pretty good pitch, and Edwards did not get the call. Jose's at bat, lives to fight another day. Pretty good curveball.
Jose, every year in the majors, has dropped his strikeout percentage.
He gets really tough at bats. Not afraid to go down 2 strikes because he has supreme confidence that he's going to make some contact.
For a power hitter nowadays to start his career under a quarter of the time striking out and then have that decline every season is very impressive.
Jose came in as a professional hitter and just keeps improving on that.
That ball's rocked into right center field by Abreu and over the head of Bryant. Engel is into third. Abreu pulls into second, and the ball rolls around the infield for a moment. Second and third, one down for the Sox in the 8th.
Take a look at what Chris Bryant had to contend with as he goes into the gap, and the Birds decide that they should seek dinner someplace else. Bryant cannot get to it. Third baseman by trade, playing right field.
We may need numbers for it, but Birds inherently have a good feel for launch angle. Now Davidson takes ball 1. Cubs leading 8-1 on the strength of half of that coming in the first inning.
Jim Hickey, the new pitching coach, taking a look of who threw when. How many warm-up pitches did they use? Who needs some work, perhaps? He's got a lot of choices in that pen, and Joe Madden now talking it over with him. Mike Montgomery, who can eat up some innings for you. He was a lifetime starter before moving to the Cubs pen. He's got pretty good stuff.
(2-0). That cuts outside. 2-1. That looked destined for the corner and then just whipped around off the outside edge.
Well, that's his fastball. His fastball looks like a slider or a cutter, and that's just his natural fastball. He can't throw it straight.
(2-1). Now 2-2. There's Wellington Castillo, who reached in the 4th and the 6th. Engel at third, Abreu at second. Tell you what, Matt Davidson keeps this up, he might be the leadoff hitter in the next couple days.
I think they'll stick with Engel for a while.
Yeah. I mean, look, Adams had a great day.
3 hits, hit the ball well the first inning, the only time they got him out.
3-2. I was tailing away. Matt fouls it off. 3 straight full counts for Davidson, his last 3 trips to the plate.
With only 1 out in the inning, 22 pitches is a long relief appearance, especially for Edwards, who has been used to this year just sawing through lineups. Not so today. Cubs are still battling, drive home some runs. Boy, Matt keeping this at bat alive. That's one of the things that he's done this year, is have long at bats. Usually goes hand in hand with a lot of walks, a renewed sense of the strike zone that he's had this season. But the Sox are doing a great job of making life, at least for the moment, miserable for Edwards.
Matt came into the day leading the league in pitches per plate appearance at more than 4.5.
Pretty impressive for a power hitter.
Davidson well hit to right field. Bryant back at the wall. It is gone! 10th home run for Matt Davidson. And it's 8-4.
Great at bat, and it turns into gold for Matt Davidson, who takes it the opposite way. The wind has died down considerably. Our Ford home run replay, and it's another high fastball, and this one leaves the ballpark in a hurry. Chris Bryant can only look up. And it's an 8-4 game.
So Edwards, with his sub .6 ERA that's growing with that home run, another generous donation from the Alex Snellius family in loving memory of Ursula.
For Carl Edwards, he'd only given up 1 run in 17 innings. That was 3 runs on 1 pitch.
Turns fast, doesn't it, Stoney?
Well, I like the fact that the Sox just didn't wrap this game up. They're still battling him.
Chuck, what's the sense like down there? Some energy in the dugout?
I would say so. They were definitely fired up for that home run, no doubt. A lot of screams. So they still feel like they got a chance here.
Still 5 outs to play with, and Edwards a little uneasy right now. For Matt Davidson, you talked about it the other day, Steve, getting himself into more positive counts, laying off the pitcher's pitches, will turn into better pitches to hit.
And he now is 10-22 in the power numbers. That he battled 2 tough pitches he fouled off to keep the at bat alive, and then finally got one to his liking.
Two and one for Wellington Castillo. Joe Madden letting Carl Edwards Jr. ride out this 8th inning.
Well, he knows at this point it's 28 pitches into this at bat. There's no way he can use him tomorrow anyway, so he figures he might as well get everything out of him today and see if he can get out of the inning.
Having trouble finding that 2-strike wipeout pitch, Edwards. He did strike out Anderson, but Engel singled with 2 strikes. Abreu doubled late in the at bat, and then Davidson a 3-2 home run. Two and 2. Fades outside. Question is, what is everything he can get out of Edwards? Is it walk here and you're out of the game?
Pretty sure it's walk here and you're out of the game. Get him out here, maybe you stay in for one more.
3-2. On the ground, first base side, and Rizzo. Edwards catches the flip, and 2 away.
No, that's going to be it as Joe Madden's coming out. He figures 31 pitches is enough. He wants Montgomery. And that will be it for Edwards, who goes 2/3. And for the first time this year, He's touched up. So as he departs, so will we, and we'll be back. Tavern in the South Loop. Watch live reaction to the lottery with Mark Shanowski, Kendall Gill, and Will Perdue. Plus, enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to the 2018 Bulls home opener and more. And our Lakeside Bank call to the pen. It's Mike Montgomery. He comes in to stem the tide. There's 2 outs here in the 8th inning. The bases are clean. He comes on for the 13th time. The ERA a little above 4.5, an 0-1 record.
And how often do you see it? 2 guys from Hart High School in Santa Clarita, California, pitching in the same game. How often?
Personally, never.
Maybe. Shields and Montgomery in the same high school. But it is...
Where'd Yarnell go?
Who?
Shields and Yarnell.
Oh, Yarnell.
Yeah.
I see. You may have actually seen this before.
Really?
Yeah, there's a chance. Trevor Bauer, also a former Hart High Indian. Todd Zeal, Bob Walk from Hart High School. Andrew Lorraine as well.
Very productive high school. Fans have stayed around. A lot of them have. Still bundled up as it's gotten even chillier.
There is strike 3. And that will do it. However, the big clout from the Californian, Matt Davidson, bringing the Sox closer. A 3-run shot to the bleachers in right. And that's everybody in their living room, isn't it? released from AAA New Orleans. And so we'll see what the Sox have in store for the infielder as the Sox have a new pitcher on the mound.
Bruce Rondon comes on for the 11th time. The ERA just under 5. Most of the time he's gotten the ball over the plate and he's been tough to hit. When he does get the ball over the plate, he's got a good enough slider and a big fastball, but in the course of his career, control has been an issue.
His first outing as a Sox player, with that slider working as crisply as we've seen it, if he can get back there, look out.
I believe that was against his former team, however. The Tigers get a little added incentive in those games.
Fastball at 97.
97 inside is tough to catch up with.
So James Shields, 6 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs. Then Beck and Bummer in the 7th. Now Rondon here in the 8th in game 2 of this series. Ricky Renteria and Don Cooper determining what's next in the bullpen as that slider's grounded foul.
They would like to see nobody for the day game tomorrow, and this one after a 2-hour and 15-minute rain delay. Yeah, that's not even a challenge for the Birds.
Well, we had our human swap meet earlier. This is the bird swap meet. Things
left around by the fans who have departed, and the Birds do get dinner.
Adam Engel makes the call. Rondon bails, and one away.
Just like we promised, it's time for the Miller Lite Hold True moment. And it comes early in this one, the first inning. Anthony Rizzo with a line drive rocket that goes out of the ballpark into the wind. Doesn't affect it very much. It's a 3-run shot, his 6th. He now has 23 driven in. He also scored a couple of runs today, and there he is. How often do you see it? You do the Miller moment, and the guy is hitting.
Never.
Was I right? Yes.
And that is ball number 1. You want to harken back to days of yore?
Your what?
Your days.
My days?
Yeah, your days.
Sure.
Well, it was actually before your days.
What do you have?
This day in White Sox history, May 12th, 1915.
My days?
No, before your
old
days.
Joke?
It's not an old joke.
Oh, okay.
I've used them all this early in the season. I'm like those birds out there in the bleachers scrounging around for new material. Red Faber, 67 pitch, complete game. Time of the game, an hour, 35 minutes.
You'd think with all those commercial messages, it would take a little longer.
Coming on the teletype?
Yep. Apparently we have a seagull expert to go to.
Chuck Garfien, our roving birdman.
You're talking so much about the seagulls. I did some research here. The best remedy to get the seagulls out of here are exciting games that keep the fans in the ballpark and cleaning up the ballpark well as soon as they can after the game. The birds are drawn here by food and refuse. And when the fans start leaving the bleachers, that's when the seagulls arrive, and their feeding time is between 4 and 6 p.m.
Well, who isn't drawn over somewhere by food and refuse?
But once the fans start leaving, I think they leave behind all the food, and there aren't enough people there to shoo them away, so they feel like they've got whatever they want to do. They've got the bleachers to themselves, and they're feeding. And it's 6:30, so it's a little bit of a later dinner tonight for the Seagulls.
You know, I'll tell you what to do tomorrow. If the game goes late, Chuck, I'll throw a couple of those hamburgers that took Jason's teeth out. Keep them around, and maybe the Seagulls will attack you down there.
Hey, Chuck.
Yes.
What would we have to pay you for in between innings for you to go out there and battle the birds for one of those stray nachos?
I'd go up there. I don't know if I can leave this camera well, to be honest with you. I'm kind of stuck here.
Well, one of the birds was just in right center field and picked up something with its beak. So there's food out there, Chuck. Go dine.
I will promise you. Actually, I can't make a promise. But tomorrow, if the same situation occurs, and hopefully in a White Sox lead, and the fans start to leave, I'll go up there and I'll see what I can do.
Really?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Go hang out with the birds?
Well, do a little more research.
Nose first, nipping into dinner. That's a base hit for Wilson Contreras. That is not above the fold news. He has 3 in the game, 7 in the series.
In fact, the last 3 games, if not a historic pace, he's right up there, because the last 3 games he's been just magnificent. There's the last 3 games. 10 for 15 with 3 home runs, a couple of triples, 3 doubles, and 11 driven in. Say he's heating it up would be an understatement.
And his birthday's tomorrow.
I shudder to think what's going to happen in that one.
Hopefully Victor Caratini. Oh, 0-1 for Schwarber. .120 game tomorrow. Lucas Giolito, Kyle Hendricks, your starting pitchers. Tapper out in front of home plate. Rondon scoops it up and has the out. Look, we got fair, we got foul, we got chips. They're nachos. Wow.
Series at Wrigley. Coverage begins tomorrow at 12:30 on NBC Sports Chicago.
We will be here, and we look forward to it. Game number 3. Sox hoping to finish off a comeback here in the 9th, and Garcia sprays the first pitch from Montgomery foul.
We will indeed be here. And tomorrow, Lucas Giolito and Kyle Hendricks will go head-to-head.
Lucas in his last start, 4 innings, and the bumpy second inning. The Pirates scored 4 off of him in that second inning, 7 hits. Start prior to that against the Cardinals was quite good for the most part. On the ground, and this is a base hit. Let's get StatCast on that thing. Infield single for Garcia.
Got to start somewhere. That's as good as any place. Little tapper. Baez back at third. And eventually it will come to a stop. Called inertia.
You know, if you stick around long enough on our telecast, you will get a physics lesson. Ball 1 outside. Trace Thompson.
And it's Yolmer in the on-deck circle.
Trace has to dance 2-0.
I would think that Joe Madden, with this game not near out of reach, doesn't want to go to the pen, but he certainly will if Montgomery continues to struggle.
Two balls and no strikes. Line drive right field. Bryant is not going to make the grab. Garcia's on his way to third. Trace Thompson at second base. 2 on, nobody out in a 4-run game.
Should be E9, and normally when you play players out of position, eventually it comes back to bite you. And Chris Bryant is the third baseman by trade. He can play the outfield, but this time, this one eludes him.
Thought he had it sized up and just didn't.
So Joe Madden will indeed come out, as this game still in doubt.
So a double switch forthcoming.
Zobrist is going to come in to play right field. Or perhaps left field, but he's going to come in the game because just in case he wants his bat in the game. He also can play just about anywhere, so it's going to be left field. And we will take a break. One this year. Hard throwing Brandon Murrow comes out for the 15th time. He's 8 for 9 in save situations. ERA a paltry 138. Does 11 strikeouts in 13 innings. He's got a good four-seam fastball. Throws a cutter and a slider both, but just about everything is hard. So he's not going to trick you. He's going to come right at you. And Yolmer is going to come on to pinch hit with 2 on, nobody out. Base hit, cuts the lead in half, and it becomes a 2-run game.
So Ricky Renteria saves Sanchez, and he gets to use him in a key spot as Zobrist comes into left field. So Schwarber is out of the game, and the pitcher is in the 5 position with Morrow. Sanchez takes ball 1. There you see the cutter.
That was a 91-mile-an-hour cutter. So again, hard. Yolmer hitting an even 300. He's had a terrific year. He actually hit the 4 spot yesterday before getting almost the entire day off here this afternoon, which has turned into this evening.
Garcia at third, Thompson at second. Yolmer in the air to right field, and this will be a very noisy strike. Sox got a 3-run home run from Matt Davidson in the 8th. That made it 8-4. And now 2 in scoring position against Morrow. 1-1. Fastball climbs to 99.
After throwing him a couple of cutters, fastball looks that much faster, as if 99 needed some help, especially 99 up.
Used to throw a changeup. He has since mothballed that. Had a curveball as well earlier in his career, Morrow. One, 2. There's a slider that stayed over the plate.
He was a closer in 2008 with Seattle, but not for a full season. He actually started 5 games that year. He closed 10 games. That was the only time he was ever used exclusively as a closer. Because you're looking at a guy that had 18 major league saves coming into this year. This is his first extended stint as a closer.
High fastball gets rid of Sanchez, 1 down.
Some high heat and nothing doing for Yolmer.
Adam Engel will not stay on a 3-hit day. Daniel Polka pinch hits.
Tough league, isn't it? Where 3 for 4 is not quite enough to keep you in the ball game late, but Polka's got big power. Put the Cubs within 1 with 1 swing of the bat. But he's got to really tune it up a touch.
Oh yeah, fastball at 99 down the chute. Polka yesterday 2 for 4 as the wind has gone quiet. Even the flags are tense as the Sox build a rally. Little grin from Daniel.
As the fastball's upstairs, Daniel has to lay off because you can't catch up to it up there, and I would think that Contreras would like it upstairs.
Caught the heart of the plate.
And that one was down a little lower than Wilson would have wanted it. Morrow tried to heat him up. This looked to be about belt high and down the middle. It's normally where Daniel hits it very hard to left center field. With that in mind, Almora is shifted into left center. Sox fans still here, still hoping for that late inning magic.
Fastball in the zone, strike 3, 2 down. So it's up to Tim Anderson, who's playing in front of his father, who was here yesterday as well, Tim Sr. Breaking ball, strike. So you're on deck, you watch 99.
Then you see
snaps
it,
off a
88 mile an hour slider. Got a 91 mile an hour cutter, so no finesse. He usually doesn't have to.
Oh, and 2. Downstairs and swept out by Contreras.
That's a tough stop. That certainly scores a run, and maybe more depending on the carom off the bricks. But 99 moving into the right-hander is pretty tough to deal with. Contreras did a nice job that time.
One and 2. Check swing, ball low.
Triple digits on that one.
What's your pleasure? 2 and 2.
Well, I think he's going to throw him a slider, but we'll have to see what Contreras wants.
Brandon Morrow, 2-2. In the dirt, 3 and 2. Jose Abreu would be the tying run. He is on deck.
In this situation, as a tying run in the on-deck circle, you got to throw him a fastball. I mean, if you believe you can get over the plate, you just have to challenge him with it, because the last thing you want to do is face the man in the on-deck circle, especially the way Jose's been swinging it, and he doesn't care how hard you throw it. Jose has anything but a slider speed bat. He likes it the harder the better.
Morrow and Anderson, 3 and 2. Way upstairs, ball 4. Abreu is indeed the tying run. And Sox fans still have hope today at Wrigley Field.
I wonder if Brandon Morrow's ever given up a late game home run.
He's due.
He hasn't given up one this year.
Saw Carlos leave from 2001 a little bit earlier. Was that a prelude?
Career with the bases loaded, Jose has been brilliant.
Fouled away.
He's seen him twice, and no luck so far.
A game that looked like it was salted away, suddenly creeping back into undecided. Oh, and 1. Ooh, nothing and 2.
That was his cutter at 93.
Bases loaded, 2 out.
Nice to see at least that both Cub and Sox fans a little tense right now. Cub fans didn't think they would be tense late in this one.
How that smile may change with one pitch, we'll see. 0 and 2. Abreu on the ground, right-hand side. Rizzo the feed, and that will do it. The Sox made it a game. The Cubs do get the win. 8-4 your final score.
Well, the boys battled back. Unfortunately, came up a little short against a very good bullpen, but they made life miserable for Edwards today. And eventually they had to go to their closer. That could bode well for tomorrow. So a quick turnaround, get your rest.
See you then, 1:20 start time. Tomorrow, Giolito versus Hendricks. And we say good night for our producer, Keon Dolan-Shahi, our director, Todd Benjaminson, our associate producer, Dave Ross, tech manager, Mark Harper, the executive producer, Greg Bowman, and our entire NBC Sports crew. He's Steve Stone. They're Chuck Garfine and Kelly Kroll. I'm Jay.